Okay, so get this. We're diving into the D.B. Cooper case today.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
It is. It is. And, everybody, I think, knows the basics, right?
Yeah, the hijacking, the ransom, the parachute.
Exactly. 1971, this guy, he just vanishes into thin air.
Never found.
Never found. But here's the thing. There might be a new twist.
Oh,
And this one hits close to home for a family in North Carolina. So we're going to look at Richard McCoy II.
okay.
His children, Shantae and Rick, they believe that he was D.B. Cooper.
Hmm.
And they've actually revealed some evidence.
Wow. So this is family secrets coming out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's reignited interest in the whole case.
Wow. So what kind of evidence are we talking about?
Well, they found a modified military surplus parachute,
Okay.
and it was just tucked away in their storage unit.
Huh.
You get this, Dan Greider, the expert who's been investigating the Cooper case for years.
Right, right.
He says this type of parachute is incredibly rare. Yeah, he said it's potentially 1 in a billion because of these modifications.
So not something you just find lying around.
No, not at all. So I'm really curious, what makes this parachute so unique?
Well, it's all about the modifications. They're specific to a certain type of military training. And someone with McCoy's background, he was a former Green Beret, so he would have been familiar with this.
Oh, I see. So it links him to that kind of specialized knowledge.
Exactly. And these modifications, they match descriptions of the parachute D.B. Cooper used, down to the tiniest details.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And there's more. Shantae also found a skydiving logbook.
Oh, wow. So this is like a real treasure hunt.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And the logbook seems to connect their father to both the Cooper hijacking A&D, another hijacking that McCoy was actually convicted of.
Oh, well, hold on. So there are 2 hijackings involved here.
Yeah, just 5 months apart. Pretty crazy, huh?
So 2 hijackings, a rare parachute, a skydiving logbook. It's all starting to add up.
It is. It's like having a trail of breadcrumbs leading right to McCoy. His movements, activities, all marked out during these key times.
It's really interesting to me that Shantae and Rick waited so long to come forward.
Yeah, why do you think they chose this moment?
Well, they've been silent for years, and they only decided to share this after their mother passed away.
Maybe they felt like they couldn't speak up while she was still alive.
Maybe. Or maybe they felt a responsibility to uncover the truth, now that she's gone.
It's a big decision, for sure.
It makes you realize that behind all these historical mysteries, there are real families, real people trying to come to terms with it all.
That's a good point. It's not just a puzzle, it's people's lives.
Exactly. For the McCoy family, this is about their father, understanding him, maybe even coming to terms with his actions.
And the FBI, they seem to be taking this seriously. After years of quiet on the Cooper case, they contacted Shantae and Rick.
Really?
Yeah, they've taken the parachute and logbook as evidence.
So they're actively looking into this.
Oh, yeah, they even searched the family's property.
Wow. I mean, after all these years, that's got to be a big deal for the family.
It is. It suggests the FBI thinks there's real potential here. They investigated tons of leads over the years. Most went nowhere. The fact they're pursuing this, well, it means something.
Okay, so let's get into it. What are the arguments for McCoy actually being D.B. Cooper?
All right, well, first there's the Cooper hijacking and the one McCoy was convicted of in Utah. They're super similar.
Yeah, the ransom demands, the parachute escapes. It's almost like a signature.
It's true. Both hijackings needed a lot of planning, specific skills, and McCoy, with his background.
It fits, yeah. And didn't some eyewitnesses say Cooper didn't drink or smoke during the hijacking?
Yeah, and that actually lines up with McCoy's Mormon lifestyle.
Interesting. So we've got the similar hijackings, the lifestyle details. It seems like more than just coincidence.
It does, doesn't it? And then there's Dan Greider.
Right. He recreated Cooper's parachute jump back in 2021.
And he proved it was possible.
Exactly. Some people, even former FBI agents, thought Cooper couldn't have survived the jump.
But Greider showed it could be done. He used a similar parachute, jumped from a similar altitude. It was like a scientific experiment.
So that adds more weight to the idea that McCoy, with all his skydiving experience, could have pulled it off.
It does. But, of course, there are always other sides to the story.
Right. We'll get into those right after this break.
Right. Some witnesses said Cooper looked older than McCoy.
Yeah, eyewitness accounts. After all these years, who knows?
Memories can be tricky.
That's true. That's true. But there's also Larry Carr. He's a retired FBI agent, and he actually worked on the Cooper case.
Oh, wow. So what does he think?
Well, he's skeptical.
Mm.
He really believes that Cooper probably died in that jump.
You know, he spent decades on this case, so his opinion carries weight.
It does. It does. He keeps pointing to how dangerous the jump was, the dark, the terrain, the freezing temperatures.
It would have been brutal.
Exactly. And it's crazy how, even within the FBI, there's disagreement.
Yeah, everyone seems to have their own theory.
It's true.
Yeah.
But, this isn't just some game or a puzzle.
Right, right.
We're talking about real people.
Like the passengers on that plane.
Exactly. It must have been terrifying for them.
Oh, absolutely. They're caught in the middle of this whole thing.
Just going about their day, then suddenly...
Of hijacking.
Yeah, and think about their families waiting at home, not knowing what was happening.
The not knowing must have been the worst part.
And the ripple effects probably lasted for years,
For everyone involved.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the McCoy family.
Right. This whole thing, it's still affecting them today.
Living with this mystery their whole lives. The suspicion around their father.
Can you imagine growing up like that?
And now they decide to step forward, knowing it could bring all this attention.
It takes a lot of courage to do that.
It does. Maybe they just want the truth to be out there, Maybe they're looking for closure.
I think that's a big part of it, yeah. The need to understand, to find some peace.
It's also a reminder that truth can be complicated.
Oh, yeah. People aren't always simple.
And sometimes the answers you find just lead to more questions.
That's life, isn't it?
And what about the FBI agents who worked on this case? They dedicated years to it.
Trying to solve it, to get some justice.
So many leads, so many interviews, just chasing that truth.
It's got to be frustrating, hitting dead end after dead end.
But now, with the McCoys coming forward, this new evidence.
It's like a new chapter opening.
Maybe they'll finally crack this case after all these years.
It would be huge, putting a name and a face to the legend.
A real turning point in the whole D.B. Cooper saga. It's amazing, isn't it? Even after all this time, people are still talking about D.B. Cooper.
I know, right? He's become this almost mythical figure.
He really has. Is he a folk hero?
Yeah.
A villain? I mean, it's crazy.
I think it's the mystery, right? We love the unknown.
Yeah, and he was never caught. Never even really identified.
So everyone can have their own version of him in their head?
Exactly. Was he a mastermind?
Uh-huh.
Just some thrill seeker? Or a desperate guy trying to escape his life,
And without answers, we get to fill in the blanks ourselves.
That's so true.
Yeah.
But for Shantae and Rick McCoy, this isn't just a story, right?
No, it's their dad. That possibility has got to be a lot to handle.
I can't imagine. To think the person you love might be this legend, but also maybe a criminal.
It shows how messy truth can be,
Yeah, and that people are complicated. Sometimes the answers you find just make things more confusing.
And even if they prove without a doubt that McCoy was Cooper, there'll still be questions.
Like, why'd he do it? What happened to that missing money? Did he survive the jump, start a new life somewhere?
Right. Maybe those are the mysteries we'll never solve.
Well, I guess that's why we're still so fascinated with D.B. Cooper.
It's true. We love a good puzzle.
We do. Well, I have to say, I have so much respect for the McCoys sharing their story. That couldn't have been easy.
Not at all. It shows real strength, a search for the truth, however painful it might be.
So as we wrap up, I keep thinking, what would I do if I was in their shoes? This family secret, the weight of it all.
Right. Heavy stuff. And it makes you wonder, what is it about these unsolved mysteries that grab us so much? What does it say about us?
I don't know the answer, but it's something to think about. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, someone knows the truth about D.B. Cooper. Maybe someday we'll all find out.